Hello everyone! In this episode of The Joy of Basing, we will be looking into how to build the black ice base that many of you have been waiting for. So yeah, have a look and let's get it started. Today we will start our black ice series that I am very excited about. It's actually a topic that is very interesting. How to create a realistic looking ice base with a character that stands on top of there. And in this case we will be creating a base for this giant here. And what could be better for an ice giant like this than a black ice base? So it's just the perfect miniature for that, I think. Okay, so here is an example of a miniature that a good friend of mine has given to me some time ago, actually during the time of the first Paint-A-Palooza. This has been done by Piotrek. Some know him also under the name of Dexter, and he has done this really cool looking penguin thiefling or whatever exactly this is, but yeah, I just absolutely love the ice base that this little guy has. And as you can see here, there is something like a ground here, and then there is this really cool looking resin section that represents some kind of Arctic water. And then you have this portion up here, which is basically some solid ice, or like, yeah, ice that he's actually floating on with a little bit snow here on top. And yeah, it's just a really fantastic little miniature, really a lot of fun. Yeah, this has been executed really well. So I will do something similar here with our beloved dice box. So one of these guys here, we'll be doing something very similar. And here you can also see a miniature that I've done quite a long time ago. I think this one here was in 2005 even. So, oh yeah, actually you can see it down here, 2005 Mountain King. So it is actually quite an old miniature. But yeah, the snow that I've done here is actually something that I used to do with a mixture of different flocks and snow effects. All right, so yeah, let's have a look also here on what we will be building with. We will have several different types of snow flock. So some of that stuff is actually little glass particles that are made of real glass, and others are just these, like this kind of flock or like this powder. So yeah, we have to mix both together to achieve a really nice looking snow and ice effect. I also have this stuff here, which is actually from a local hobby store. It's just labeled snow. I bought it when it was really cheap, yeah, around Christmas actually. And that stuff is really amazing because it has this this more volume that is added to the snow. So yeah, I don't even know what it is. It looks a little bit like some type of shreddings, you know, like plastic shredding or something. It's definitely a synthetic sort of plastic, but I think it just gives this really nice volume to the whole mix. Then we have something quite special here. It's actually not a paint, but yeah, this is actually some authentic glass that has been grinded with is it called a mortar? You know, stone ball. And that can make this really fine and also sparkly snow effect here. Whenever you grind something like that, be very careful. You don't want to inhale actually glass fumes. They can actually be quite harmful to your lungs. So yeah, be a little bit careful with that. But it's good to have a little amount of that. And if you wonder what this is, it's actually quite simple. It's light bulbs. So just find some glass light bulbs if you still can find them, because nowadays a lot of them have some kind of plastic covering the LEDs. But you would need to have a proper light bulb and then grind it into these little into this powder. The finer you grind it, the nicer actually the snow effect might look. But for our snow effects here, we will actually use different types of ground glass. This here is quite a dangerous jar because it's full of very sharp glass shards. So I'm always a little bit paranoid when I look inside here. And yeah, maybe you can see it here. They are a little bit rougher, so I'm using this little stick here to show you. Oh, looks like a like an accident in there. There you go. Try to zoom in a little bit. So here you can see, yeah, actually it's authentic glass shards, and also these like that you have very different ones, like up to this very fine glass in here. That is something that we will also need to have. Okay, so let me set everything up a little bit more, and then we will just start right away with creating our glass base. You might also wonder what this here is. That is actually something that is a little bit silly, that was not so common some years back. It's actually some of that protective glass cover from my smartphone, an old one actually, that has also shattered sometime, you know, during the usage. And here is also one that's really beaten up. So you can see actually that this is really a great thing, because it's actually a plane of glass that is held together by a foil that is sticky also, and therefore you can have all of these really nice looking cracks here, all of these super awesome patterns, and you can also kind of use that to utilize that in base building. So we will MacGyver our way once again here on the drive basing with some materials like that. Yeah, so maybe you can find that around somewhere, or you just get a new one and then use the old one on your phone that you are using right at this moment for base building actually. Over here I actually have a lot of pre-cut acrylic glass planes of various sizes for various base sizes, so to say. There is still the foil on it, and I have cut these with a laser cutter. But obviously we will not just glue it on there, but we will treat them with something, and yeah, that will be for the little bit simpler bases. And here I also have some examples of just regular transparent foil. Those are very thin, so they have barely 1 millimeter, and they are also actually different ones available. So some that are very transparent, like the one on the left, and one that is a little bit opaque, because it's irregular on one side. So we will see what we can do with these planes here also. They are made of plastic, so they will not shatter. Over here I have something very special. It's actually just big chunks of glass that I think I got them from a decoration store. You know, the ones that usually carry also some beads and stuff like that, and little stones. And these are just decorational stones. So yeah, actually it's just solid glass, but as you can see, they're really pretty. They look like actually the real thing, like some chunks of ice that you will be able to find wherever there is some ice, and where yeah, some people have, for example, started to just ice skate or throw stones on the ice, then you would have these big chunks. But also if there is, for example, like the sea nearby, and the waves have actually started also to disturb the ice. Okay, so I think we will start with the big base right away with this one here, and we will see how we can actually build a base for this giant here. So yeah, let me rearrange everything a little bit, and then we will just get on to it. Okay, so yeah, we will again use these dice boxes, one of these dice boxes here, to have a quick tank already for the resin that we'll pour in a second. What I would like to do is to keep this black portion here as some sort of ground, where, you know, there's already some ground on the bottom of a lake, for example, and then have the ice floating up here on this part. But for this I would actually need to cut this down a little bit, so I have two openings without this here. So for this, very quickly we will take our like a saw, like this one, fine hacksaw. You could also use a Dremel and just like Dremel around here, but yeah, you know, I mean, a saw is also quite a good tool for that. So Okay, and yeah, we will just saw this here off, and that will get a little bit loud, I guess. So let's see. When you saw stuff, then always remember that you have the full length of the saw. Don't do like this on just one part, but you can go the whole length. And some saws, they are rather sawing when you pull or if you push. So, you know, have a look on the teeth here that of the saw that you're using. There are, for example, some Japanese saws that are only working on the pull motion. Don't apply too much pressure, and just like try to keep the angle straight. There are also like these little blocks when you can put this in and then it will guide the saw down, but I don't have that available at the moment, so I would just try to do this like this right now. Okay, right, here you can see how we have finally succeeded in cutting that off. And there is a little angle here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's actually even better like that because it will be a little bit more irregular, and so the giant will also, you know, have this little motion to the front a little bit, so it will be a little bit yeah, deeper here. Okay, now I will take some sanding paper and clean that edge up a little bit, so you will not be able to see these cutting marks from the saw that much anymore. Okay, we also use this little block here, this wooden block, to to have a little bit more control over what we are filing here. We don't want to have this perfectly angular, and this is actually a very worn 180 grain paper. Okay, now we have succeeded doing this. We can also check if it still kind of fits and if we like the size of that, actually the height. And yeah, actually it looks really, really cool. So yeah, that is already quite good. Now let's check out the various types of acrylic glass that we have here for the upper part. I've actually used 3 different ones here. So once we remove the foil, we will see that this here, for example, is completely transparent. It is always this foil on both sides here, like that. So, of course, ice is not that simple, and often it's also broken. So, I have done it also in like some milky acrylic and some thicker acrylic too. But now it's also good time to test out various things that we can do in order to make this this here appear a little bit less transparent, because it's, you know, ice is not made out of glass type texture, but it has always something interesting going on there. So for this we will be using something that I found also when I was in this hobby shop, actually in this hobby store, which is actually this spray here. It's actually called Ice Bloom Spray. It's actually from a German producer or manufacturer, 100% made in Germany, as you can see here. And it says, artificial frost patterns for spraying on shop windows, glass vases, ornament drawers, etc. Spray from a distance of around 30 centimeters, apply an adequate quantity, but avoid drips and running. frost patterns are formed in approximately 30 seconds and take maximum 3 minutes to crystallize completely. Oh, and then it says also use spray only on glass. Do not use on plexiglass, plastic foils, coated surfaces, or similar. Who would ever try something like that, right? We have been warned, but we do it anyways. So, yeah, prepare a sheet of paper like this, and then also the object that you want to frost. In this case, this little glass here. Give it a good shake. Put your respirator on. Of course, I don't have my handy, but yeah, open a window at least and shake it well, and then just give it a try like this. Okay, smells like death. Okay, and now we may be able to see the magic unfold in a second. Ooh, something is happening. So I'm just blowing against it in case you're wondering what that weird noise is. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, there we go. You can already see that some sort of patterns are emerging here, and they look really like some sort of ice crystals, especially forming here in the corners. So yeah, that is really interesting. I think I will also spray the other side and then just see what will come out of that. But so far it looks really, really cool, and just like what I was hoping for actually to achieve. Let's see the other side also. And okay, what I also think what is happening here is that the aerosol in the can is also reacting a little bit with the plastic here. That's why we have been warned by the manufacturers not to do that. But actually we want the surface to be influenced by that stuff. So yeah, actually it's a good thing that it has some aerosol in there. So I've sprayed this side here too. I will put it on here for a second until it dries. Good thing we brought our gloves, because I can already feel that something here is getting sticky. So there is some chemical reaction for sure. And we don't want to touch that actually with our bare fingers. So yeah, use gloves. There are some really cool round patterns that are actually formed here. Yeah, as the description said, they are like crystallized on there. And I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. It's something that, yeah, you actually don't see so often, maybe in nature, but that is really, really, really awesome and yeah, really great. Yeah, and I think that it gives you already an idea of where this is heading here. Okay, so now I will also show you something else that you can do with acrylic glass. Usually, you know, these slabs, for example, I've used these here as little test pieces and have done various things to them. But one thing that you can try out yourself is to take also a little shot glass like that and some standard grade alcohol like white spirit. Spray that in here, and then just take for example slab or little parts, and then just like pop that in here like this. And the nice thing is that the alcohol kind of affects the piece that we throw in here, so I think it will just infiltrate it, as you might be able to see here. And it will start to crack actually under the influence of the alcohol. And when this dries out, there might also be some really interesting patterns that emerge here. So we just pop it in here like that, and then we will just keep it in here for, let's say, like 15 minutes, and we will take it out and allow it to dry and see how it looks. Okay. Oh, and we will also do the same for our this here, for the, I think that's PET. It's like a plastic type. So let's see if this is influenced by it at all, because some of the plastics, they're also not influenced at all by alcohol or solvents, but we can give it a try. Okay, and allow this to dry. Okay, in the meantime, while all of our little experiments here are kind of being treated and are drying, I want to prepare a little bit of that ground here to fill out the ground of the base, similar to this here, something that looks a little bit like snow, but it's just like kind of frozen ground. So for this we will use some standard grade wood glue, in this case some Ponal wood glue here, and various snow flocks that I have actually to mix a little bit like a paste, much like the earth paste that we have mixed also for previous tutorials, and yeah, we will do quite a lot of that. So maybe a little bit more. That. Also take one of these coffee stirring sticks again. There they are. Okay, and we will start with the heavy body snow flock here that we have bought also from the hobby store. And actually, the thing is, we can also do it quite exactly. So yeah, this is the one part of the wood glue now. I will mix, or like not mix, but I will prepare around twice that amount here to the side, or maybe not twice, but a little bit more, like that much, and just mix it in here. Okay, then we will take some of that finer powder. That is actually not natron or baking soda, because baking soda would always get a little bit yellow after time, so we want to avoid that, and instead we use this, that's actually, you can see it looks really like flour or something similar, and it's just very also a little bit fuzzy, you know, so maybe I can show it here to you. Oh man, that looks really horrible now. I hope that the authorities will not object to that. But it's just a very white, like very fine white powder, like that. Okay, and we will also mix around the same amount as we have used of the wood glue. So like around that much in there. And finally also maybe a little bit of that sparkly glass here, although we will not be able to see it so extremely well down there. I just want to include a little bit of it as well, so we will have a little bit of this sparkle in there too. Alright, now we will mix this thoroughly with a stick, hope that everything will kind of combine a little bit in a like a white paste, which is also quite heavy. It's not a runny paste or anything, but it keeps kind of its fluff because of that the first component that we have mixed in here of that flock. It's a little bit like a dough, like a cake dough, just like heavy snow, something like that. Okay, and now I will just simply put that in here. Oops. The thing is, the challenges will also be that we will need to add the side in, or like the dice box in, before this dries, because otherwise we will not be able to do that anymore. A little like this. And then I would also like to include some stuff that is down there, still some parts of vegetation or something. So yeah, we have this kind of root that is actually an olive tree that I found at Greece once. So we will take some of that stuff and also just like kind of break it up a little bit and just stick it in here as some sort of wood that, you know, that could be parts of algae or driftwood or whatever, or not even wood, but some particles that are just down there. Yeah, then I will just, oops, put that in here. You can also take little parts of bark. So this here has a really nice texture, so try to break it up a little bit. Also hide parts of that in here. So yeah, there is something that just looks a little bit more interesting when we look down there. Like this. Okay. And now it's important to push this here in while we can. And that leaves us with a very quick, nice looking ground here. What I will also do is one final sprinkle of the glass. I really like how it kind of starts to shine there. Try to make it not too regular. A bit like that. Okay. Yeah, like this. And yeah, we will allow this to dry a little bit, and then we will see how it will come out eventually.